Welcome to another episode of In the Nude. Today we're going to have an amazing naked conversation with Moe Choice, a man who's devoted to helping you create a life on your own terms.
People who are listening to this walk away from one truth. What's the one truth you would hope that they would hear and walk away with?
That they get to choose what they believe.
What do you mean specifically? What do you mean and how that applies? Like they get to choose what they believe, but
Well, a belief is a belief. It's something you
yeah,
hold. It's not extrinsic. It's not
yeah,
it's not a fact,
yeah,
let's say, maybe in simple terms. Like it's not like if I let go of something
yeah,
heavy, it's gonna fall. That's a fact. Or if I poke my eyes, I won't be able to see, or something like that. Like these are truths, let's say,
yeah,
or at least perceived truths. We can say that
yeah,
everyone can see at the same time. A belief is not something. It's not something you see and then take in. It's something that you project out onto the world. So you see the world through the
yeah,
filters of your belief.
yeah,
So if you believe in God, you're going to see the world as if it was created by God. If you believe in science and not God, then you're going to see
yeah.
things as, I don't know,
So I think,
scientific or whatever the hell people see them as. So, so all I'm saying is you get to choose those filters. People think they don't get to. It's not.
yeah,
I was the same, by the way, so I'm not judging. People don't realize we get to choose the
yeah.
filters from which we
Yeah,
see
no,
the
that's
world.
fascinating. It's really really true. I have a practical application because of how I see it connecting into life. But why is that the one truth? Like, what have you found when somebody chooses their beliefs? What it impacts?
Because most people don't choose beliefs that empower them. It's the government's crooked. You never have a chance. People are bad. It's like, why are you believing all these? How is that helpful to you? I'm not good enough. I'm not. It's too. I'm too old. It's too late. I'm crap at sales. Why do you
Yeah,
choose to believe those things? Why?
yeah,
And it's usually
yeah.
because
Or it's
it's
known.
convenient.
Yeah,
It's a convenient truth. It's like then I have an excuse for
yeah,
not living my best life. I either need to live my best life or have an
yeah.
excuse for
I
why
definitely
I'm not
think that for me, a lot of those beliefs that I had limited on myself were solely based in fear. Like, I was afraid of rejection or failure or being too much and being known for who I was. I think there's a layer of known hell is better than unknown heaven in our brains. Yeah. Yeah, yeah, all those.
ignorance is bliss, something like that.
But I definitely oh,
I have a reframe. Or I have a different take. So I think it's true that the greatest fear we have is the unknown. I learned this from horror movies. What makes a horror movie is like you don't know what's going to happen. That's what makes the horror movie, not that you know it. We're not. I'm not afraid of, let's say, heights. I'm
mhm,
afraid of what happens when I fall. I'm not afraid of
mhm,
death. I'm afraid of what happens when I die. It's. I'm not saying you're not afraid of death, but I'm saying Okay, so if that's true, that our greatest fear is the unknown, then it's usually rather than fear of rejection, it's I don't know what will happen when I get rejected. I don't know how I will deal with it. I don't know what it means for me. I don't know how my family are going to look at me. I don't know how my clients are going to look at me. I don't
yeah,
know what happens next
yeah,
post rejection. And so if that's true, then the belief is I have to know what happens. We'll change that belief then. Why do you have to know? It's like,
mhm,
I'm not going to play the game unless I know I'm going to win. I'm not going to take the job unless I know it's going to be the best thing. And I'm not going to have a baby unless I
yeah,
know it's going to be a boy. I'm not going to, you know what I mean? It's like, you can't know that stuff because because it's
yes.
literally
Versus a
unknown. That's a
belief.
truth.
No, yeah, yeah.
Versus a
I think it's
belief.
I think it's often we find that we handcuff ourselves with this, "I can't do it if I don't know what's gonna happen," or, "I can't do it if I'm afraid that I might fail because I
Mhm.
don't know whether I'll succeed or fail." But every aspect
Agreed.
of life, if you want it to look different, you have to be willing to have it look different, which means you have to be willing to go into that unknown for it to change.
Yeah, that's the paradox. Your greatest fear is in the unknown, but so is what you want. This has been played out in, it's the reason Harry Potter and Lord of the Rings are so, because that's the story. It's the dragon's den. You have to overcome the dragon to get the gold. Okay, what's the dragon? The dragon is your greatest fears. It's something that flies, something that will destroy you through strength, something that will get you on the grass, something that breathes fire, which we didn't know what the hell to do about in those days. It's your great, in South America, you still see like they put on, I'm losing my words here.
Okay.
Like they'll do like a plaque and they'll put the tiger, the eagle or a bird of prey and the snake. That's the dragon. That's the three Three of our greatest predators as apes, our common ancestor. That's our three greatest predators, because in the trees we get stung by the snake, on the ground we get eaten by the tiger, and if we climb to the top away from the snakes, we get plucked by the birds of prey. So it's
Combined,
literally a
yeah.
metaphor for your greatest fear. And the greatest fear is the unknown. I don't know how to handle the dragon. I don't know how to beat the dragon. And if I try, I don't know what's going to happen. You're going to get swallowed up, and then I don't know what happens when I die. That's why we had to come
Yeah.
up with heaven and hell as concepts, right? And so you have to, that's the paradox. The gold and your greatest, heaven and hell, are both in the unknown.
Okay, so that
They're
begs
both
the
in the same
question,
path.
since you have the mentality of helping people do life on their own terms, which is they can choose their own belief. It begs the question, what do you find is a common tool, path, exercise that people can do to reform beliefs that they have?
It's literally, you have to, so
Okay.
the only thing that's worked for me is I write down the beliefs that I have, and then I write down what I want to replace that belief with. That's the first thing. And so you can do, Tony Robbins believes in this, keep repeating it. And I think that's really true. Like, if you keep reminding yourself that this is what I want to believe, you don't have to lie to yourself. You don't have to say, this is what I believe, but you can say the truth, which is, I want to believe this. Please, Lord, show me how to install this belief. That's a really good, if you're religious, or please, science, help me, right? Whatever you believe in, right?
Yeah,
Everyone has a
some type
God
of belief, whether it's
of some
science, a
sort,
higher being, a inner
right?
divine, whatever. Yeah.
It's in your God. That's what God is. Everyone thinks God is a guy in the sky, and it's all bullshit, right? And they don't understand the concept. It's like grade 5 crap. We used to talk about this in grade 5. God is a guy in the sky looking at us. You're still saying that at 35? Really? Okay. So the first thing is you have to decide
And where
what
you
you
are.
want to believe. So you have to be, so you have to be really aware of what you believe, and then really clear on what you want to believe. And then James Clear taught me this in the simplest way with Atomic Habits. He said, every action you take is a vote for who you want to become. So then we can go a million ways here if you want, Rachel. So you can lead it. So, okay. So Alfred Adler actually was the first psychology guy, psychotherapist, I think he was, to come up with the truth is in the level of events, not in the level of speech. Like, just because you say you believe in God, it doesn't mean you do. But when you act like God exists, then I know that.
But what do your actions
You can say you love me, but it's the action. Right. So, okay. So if we know that the truth is, you act out your beliefs. That's a smart way of looking at it. You don't speak out your beliefs, you act them out. So if you want to know what someone believes, just watch what they're doing.
And not doing.
Just watch what they're doing. Okay. Or not doing. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, very cool. So if you act out what you believe, then you have to act. I can't remember who said this, some author. You have to act your way into a new, he says, level of thinking instead of think your way into a new level. Okay, so it's the same thing. You have to act out the new beliefs that you want to instill, not change your beliefs here and then assume that it's going to play out. Well, you can do it that way. Hypnotherapy, timeline therapy. There's loads of ways of doing that. That's absolutely fine. Writing, journaling is very powerful. That helped me a lot. Like writing out, do I really believe this? Why do I believe this? And that helps you. But the best way is to just act out the belief. And so, okay. So then when James Clear said, it's every action you take is a vote for who you want to be. I always, Peter McWilliams said, there's only one relationship that matters, and it's the relationship that you're stuck with till the day you die. And that's between you and yourself. And so you think of that as conscious and unconscious, non-conscious, subconscious, unconscious, whatever you want to call it, the non-conscious part of you, and then the conscious part, the iceberg, right? Okay. So we're constantly working to bringing those two into alignment, because if you're misaligned there, you have way less of a chance of getting what you want than if it's like having a team where you're not all working together. You're not rowing at the same pace. So the boat's not quite going to where you know what I mean? And we've all been there in companies and families where we're not all on the same page, and then it just doesn't work. It's hard enough when you're in your integrity, and that is integrity, but it's hard enough to get what you want when you're fully aligned and in your integrity, let alone when you're not. Okay. So we want to bring conscious and unconscious. Okay. So you imagine this. You imagine I make a declaration or something like that. I want to be a solopreneur and I want to live life on my own terms. Okay. That's the leader, the conscious, announcing a new direction. Your unconscious is the team, and they're all going, okay, so what do we do now? If you take an action that's misaligned from that, the rest of you, the non-conscious part, which actually is who you really are, is going to say, well, fuck you then. It's like, it's going to be like, so, you know, when people have procrastination and migraines, and I'm depression. And I think a lot of this comes from, it's just a sign of misalignment. I learned this idea from Milton Erickson, the godfather of hypnosis. He said the only reason people seek therapy is because conscious and unconscious are misaligned.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
only
fair.
reason they seek
I
therapy.
mean, it really is fair. It's often when you have this misalignment isn't because you desire it, hence you going to therapy, but you don't know how to undo it. And so you're trying to fix the path.
And also, most people don't aim properly at something. So they don't say, this is what I want, and I'm
Yeah.
going to sacrifice everything else.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like they'll say, I don't want to, solopreneurs. I'll talk about my world. They'll say, I don't want a job. I'm all in on solopreneurship. But then they'll go and apply for a job. So what's your non-conscious saying
what are
now?
we
It's
doing?
going, hold on a minute. You're saying that you're all in and you're a solopreneur, but then you're going and sending your CV. And the
Yeah.
problem with the non-conscious is he knows everything you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
you can't hide from him. And I think that's so.
Yeah.
Just to TLDR it. What
Yes.
are your beliefs? You have to become aware, self-aware. What do you want to believe? That's your aim. Why do you want to believe? That's probably the start. What are you aiming at?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
then what do you need to
Yeah.
believe to get there? Right? The necessity of aim and the necessity of
Yeah.
finding the right
I think-
belief, the right pathway to get there.
Yeah.
Then you have to act out that belief.
I think we
Every
know that
single thing.
innately
Yeah.
in stupid ways, but we don't apply it in big ways. What I mean by that is when we're a little kid and we learn how to ride a bike, right? We know we want to learn how to ride a bike. That's the thought that we're trying to do. But we also know we're not there yet. And we know how to get there is by taking actions and falling and messing up and picking it back up and keep on going. And then eventually, over the course of taking
Facing the
the
fear.
actions, you gain the confidence to actually say, I can ride a bike. It starts with I want to ride a bike, and then it becomes I can ride a bike by act. We know how to do it.
It's a great example. It's a great example. So I call the non-conscious your 6-year-old self, because the 6-year-old is, if you had a relatively normal upbringing, let's say, because I know that there's things that could damage that. But let's just say you had a normal upbringing, loving parents, decent school, no trauma, infected, inside or outside the home. I used to work with an after-school club for single moms, the kids of single moms, and 6 to 8 years old was the group. So it was 6 years, 7 years, 8 years.
Yeah.
It was 2 school years, but it was between 6 and 8, whatever the grades are, grade 2 to whatever it is. And I see the difference between 6 to 8. 6 is really pure joy, hypnosis, fun, saying what you want, not really concerned about what other people think. And then the minute you get to 8, it's like they're looking around. Is he looking at me? Did he see what I did? Am I better
Yeah.
than him? And it's the comparison kind of. And Aristotle said, show me a boy of 7 and I'll show you the man. Super interesting that.
Yeah.
The Greeks had already spotted that. So I think I love the analogy, because probably when you get past that 7-year-old self, that's when I don't want to
What if
try it. It's
so-and-so
too scary. I
says,
don't want to do it. I'm not good
all
enough.
of the
That's
unknowns,
probably,
all the uncertainty, because you're looking left and right instead of looking inside.
I also love the metaphor, because when I talk so I love
same.
everyone. I really mean that. I'm not saying like I love everyone, but I don't like very many people.
So here's
Like
what I say.
dislike almost everyone.
I really like
right?
the person,
Yeah.
and I really love the person, but I don't like the behavior, and I don't accept the behavior. Same thing.
It's a good way to say it. Yeah, it's the same thing. And so, but what helps me love people is when I look at them, when I talk to them, I'm doing it with you in some part now. I
Same.
look at their 6-year-old. I imagine them as a 6-year-old. And I
Yeah,
go,
I
cute,
completely-
Renee. Yeah.
Yeah, no, every time I meet somebody,
it's a
even
really
if I
good
just
trick.
see them in a grocery store,
Yeah.
I automatically am visualizing based on how they're exhibiting right now, what their internal little 6-year-old, 7-year-old self's needs were that weren't met. And it makes relating to them, it makes having compassion for them, it makes it like, and yeah, it way less frustrating.
Much
I love
easier.
it.
Because I can't hate 6. I
Yeah,
mean, some people
can't
do. I know
either.
people that hate kids. And I think that's also a projection probably from their
Yeah.
youth. Probably. I'm not an expert on this stuff. Right. But I'd imagine it is. But it's like dogs. It's like, how can you hate a dog? I don't understand people like that. But let's just say you hated it, right? Or let's just say you're hanging out with 6-year-old kids. And I don't mean that in a
We're not
perverted
talking
way.
about
I mean,
dating
you're
apps here.
hanging out with 6-year-olds. Because I say that a lot. I go, I love hanging out with kids, and then you see people look at me like, I go, no, why are you looking at me like that?
Not-
The
it's
fact that
insane.
I said
Yeah,
it tells you that it's yeah. I don't know any clean-willed person. I don't know if that's the right phrase,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. Clean-intentioned person who can
Yeah.
hang out with 6-year-olds and hate on them.
Yeah.
6-year-olds, 5-year-olds, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Maybe younger, when they're drooling and they're,
Yeah.
dropping things. Okay, I get that. But usually by the
Yeah.
age of 5, 6, they're really fun to hang out
Yes.
with, and they tell you the truth, and they're super honest. and they're fun to be with, and they
Yes.
bring joy, and like they're the joy of our life, really. Okay. After that, we just get corrupted, and we get more and
Yeah.
more and 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 more corrupted. And it's like that's a really good thing to remember or to think about, because it's not our fault we were corrupted, and we got corrupted by beliefs that probably we didn't want. And so you imagine we start to get beliefs that we didn't want at 7, 8, 9, 10, and then you've been living your life
Mhm.
with that foundation. I'm not good enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm not. And so you have to have compassion for yourself, by the way. It's like, this is not, you have to go
Yeah.
digging for the gold, by the way. Like, you don't find the gold on the shoreline. You have to dig and go through
Yeah.
dirt and darkness to get the gold. But no one wants to do that. And then they stay corrupted. And you're corrupted by your
Well, and
beliefs,
it's
by the way. You're not corrupted by anything else.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Even
what
if
it
something
is your belief about what happened. If you go to therapy for, I have a horribly
Yeah.
traumatic background, right? So I've done EMDR, I've done ART, I've done all these different things. And one of the things they foundationally do in most of the trauma therapies is they talk to you about what did you learn to be true and you took as truth a belief about yourself from this instance. And what do you prefer to believe about that? And it's the same thing you're talking about, but it's about your past. And so that, yeah, I completely agree. It
Yeah.
isn't the event.
Because especially if you think as kids, like, we don't know what the hell's going on, and something happens, and it's like, why is this happening to me? At a young age, and then you blame your mom and dad for not protecting you, or maybe they're the problem in the first place, or whatever. It's what's the story you're telling yourself about that, and that's the same thing as saying, what do you believe to be true about yourself, about others, and about the
Mhm.
world? I like that 3-layer.
Yep.
You believe something about yourself that's true about
Yep.
yourself. You believe something that's true about other people. The
Uh-huh.
generalization, that's
Yeah.
racism and discrimination. That's all comes from that. And people go, how can people be racist? You are racist. Maybe
Something.
not
Yeah.
against race, but you're
Yeah.
racist against something else.
Yeah.
You're still an ist on something, on some level. And so then it becomes,
Yeah.
and then it's what's true about the world. Like, the world is evil. It's
Mhm.
all about
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all these kind of stories. And the beautiful thing about now, the way we live now and the internet, and you can find something that
Mhm.
contradicts pretty much any belief. So that's another good thing. If you believe in something and you want to change it, but you really can't change it because I see this belief everywhere, how can I change it? Go and look for one piece of evidence that it's not just one.
Okay.
If there's one piece of, I'll give you an example. A friend of mine said, every marriage breaks down. And I said, you really believe that? Yeah, every marriage breaks down. Even if they don't show you that it's broken down, every marriage breaks. You can't have a happy marriage. And I said, okay, the goal is to find one, just one happy marriage. And he did. And it was actually a close friend of his. Actually, he came back to me. We were in the pub, and he came back to me and he said, actually, I thought about this, and blah,
One.
blah, and his wife have okay, so that's one. So
Yeah, yeah.
how many
Yeah, so if
couples
there's
do you fucking
one,
like? How many
there
do you
has to
know?
be more, right? Like,
Well,
statistically. Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Totally get that.
It's like when people say, everyone I know. It's like, how many people do you know? 15? Like, how
Yeah.
many? There's 8 billion people in the world.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic.
Yeah?
I love that idea of trying to find the counter truth
Yeah.
because sometimes it is really hard to let go of that thing that feels so real. And even if you want to, sometimes we have this like vice grip on something because we feel like it's protecting. It's like preparing, even if it's limiting.
It's the foundation of our house. You're basically telling someone you have to change the
Yeah,
foundation of
we're
your
gonna
house.
knock it off.
Imagine that metaphor. You got your house. Yeah, you're living in your house. It works. It's not perfect, but it works. Like, the doors work, and I can live there, and I can sleep there, and I can cook. And then someone says, sorry, you got to change the foundation. It's
I
like, I
have to
can't be bothered
constantly
for
like
that. What do you mean?
renovate and break down.
Like,
That sounds like so much work. It sounds like so much. It's not that bad. Yes.
where will I live? That's a really good metaphor. Right? Like, if I give up my belief system, which is the world I live in, and I start to
Yeah.
change that, where am I going to live in the meantime? What belief system am I going to live in the meantime? That's the unknown.
Yes.
And we're back to what's the scariest thing. And people don't want to do so. By the way, if anyone's listening to this going, I'm not wagging my finger. I'm literally saying it's no
Yeah,
wonder
no, for
you
sure.
don't
And it's
want to
something that
change
you're
your
saying
belief.
it because you went through the experience, I would imagine. Like, you went through the experience of,
Yeah. But here's the thing. I
yeah.
decided I
And now just
wanted to
do a
do it.
step.
So you first have to decide. Yeah. So I'll give you
Yeah, I
another
love it.
example in my business, in my world. Someone will say, I hate sales.
Yeah, yeah.
Because I teach people how to sell, right? Because it's like, well, how are you going to make money?
Yeah.
You have to get a job, or you have to learn how to sell. And so they'll say, I hate sales. So most coaches or people who are listening to this will say, yeah, let's work around. And they'll go into this whole, let's do something about that. I'll ask them, do you want to hate sales? Do you want to hate sales? Because that's the belief, is that I believe I hate sales, not it's a fact that I hate sales. It's I believe I hate sales because I don't know any better. And so I asked them that, and 99.9% of the time they say, no, of course not. course, I don't want to hate it because it's stopping me from great. So now we have a goal,
Yeah.
which is to not hate sales, to love sales. Now we can work towards that. But if you keep the goal or the belief as I hate sales and you try to counter that, it's
Yeah.
it's at the
I have
identity level now.
Yeah.
You're
I
trying
feel
to
like I
change
love
their
how you asked that
identity.
question because then it both involves the conscious mind because you have to be willing to make the choice of I don't want to hate sales and the unconscious
Mm,
mind of thinking sales is
mm,
bad or sales is icky. And so you have both and you've asked the question to get them to
yeah.
say consciously, yes, I don't want that. And getting them back aligned to I don't know how to like it, but I want to. And then the action.
Yeah, and I'm gonna take actions. I'm gonna take actions to show that I'm willing. I'm not saying take an action to
No,
show that you love
no,
sales. It's
no.
not the
Take
fake
an
it till
action.
you make it stuff. I'm not talking about that. I'm saying take an action to show that you're trying to figure out a way. And it's all language, huh? You hear people in there, and I'll say, you notice how
Mm-mm.
you said this? Yeah, yeah, I didn't
No,
mean that.
language
Yes,
is
you
the
did because you
first step.
actually said it.
Language
Would you?
matters. How you vocalize about something is huge because that's the prepping ground. You can go horribly
Tells you
downhill or you
everything.
can go horribly
Tells you everything.
amazingly uphill based on how you decide to talk.
I agree, and also it's on the flip side of that. Let's say your non-conscious starts to deliver the
Yeah.
information first before you're conscious of it. So you're then verbalizing what's already come from the unconscious. So you're finding the words that match
Mhm.
the energy, the communication. So actually, you're not even choosing the word. Your conscious is matching the unconscious communication with the best words. So, when someone says, I think we should, you know that they're in thought. If they say, I feel like going
Yeah.
to the movies,
Yes.
it's an emotional thing. You know what I mean? So it's always mapping, the words are mapping. And on the flip side, what you said is you can use your words to try to find a
Yeah.
different truth. So you can reverse that too.
Yeah.
It works both ways, right? The communication. And and people take it
Yeah.
for, it's just semantics. What? It's just the meaning of the words. That's
Just
all it
nothing.
is.
It's nothing.
Just that. Yeah, yeah. It's like
Yeah.
we're just speaking goo goo gaga
Yeah.
then, if it doesn't matter what the word means. Like, why are we talking
Yeah.
if it doesn't matter what the
I think
word means?
sometimes there's minutia of when people don't know how to vocalize what it is they're trying to say, where they use words like based on their experience versus what the definition is. And I think that's a time frame. But most of the time, when somebody says it, they're just being dismissive because they don't want. And it's fair. It's uncomfortable to get gooey and get introspective and be like, oh, I did just say that. That did come out from me. I do not like myself. I do whatever that is. That's having been there. It's really not comfy. But at the same time, comfy isn't what you want if you
No.
want your life to be on your own terms.
Unless you're comfortable with where you
Yes,
are
but
and
then
then
you
you want
wouldn't
to stay
be
comfortable.
looking for something
Obviously,
else.
that's fine. No, you can't complain.
Yeah.
If you're happy to be comfortable, then don't complain. Just pick comfort. By the way, the other thing to say about that is I have this, you have to speak from the I. You have to speak I, me, mine when I run personal development workshops. And the number of people that can't do it, they say you and we and they never say the I. And that's a really good indication too that you're tackling your shadow. You're seeing things about yourself that you're not happy about or you're not comfortable with or that scare you or that you don't know or understand. That's a really good way to identify the things that you need to work on too when you can't claim it from the I. You can't say I believe this, I think
Mhm.
this. You know what I mean? It's a really really good indication. And typically when they say something like we or everyone I know, that's a need for validation. And it's like if you need validation from the outside, then
Yeah.
you're not clear on who you are.
And
You're
that's
not in your
okay to
integrity.
not be there. But if you want life to look different, you have to be willing to, like you said before, it's hard enough to get what you want when you are aligned. When you're not aligned, it's basically almost impossible. So if you have to be willing to
Yeah,
get a
it's
little gooey and like
to be in your integrity. Here's the other thing. It's like there's a quote, Alan Thompson, I don't know what his name is. The book was
was
really
great.
boring, but this quote, I always have this thing about, how people say when you're reading a book and you don't like it, put it down. I always look for I'm going to look for one thing in this book that helps me think about things differently. And his quote was, with integrity, nothing else matters. Without
Yeah.
integrity, nothing else matters. And what I take to mean by that is if you have integrity,
Mhm.
everything else will fall into place. And if you
Yeah.
don't, that's the thing you need to figure out. You don't need to figure out what platform should I be on or what's my offer or what certification do I need.
For
You need to
sure.
figure out how to get into your integrity. That's the goal. So it's get into your
Yeah.
integrity and then
Get
maintain
it,
it. That's your
maintain,
only
yeah.
two goals.
I think most of the time when I see somebody
Yeah.
who's like trudging, whether it's in their interpersonal life or it's in their work or it's in their relationships, it's in any what almost trudging. Oh,
What is
trudging for
trudging?
me is the idea of
What
like
is
where you're like ho hum, kind of defeated and frustrated with life, but you keep on going. It's survival. It's that like, yes, plodding
mm,
on. Yeah, like
plodding along? The
nine to
Brits say
five
plodding
plugging in where you
along.
see
Yeah.
them have the
Yeah.
same day over and over and you can tell it's just like slowly seeping the life out of them vibe. That's trudging for me, right? So when you see someone in whatever case and
Right,
function it is,
right.
whether it's in work or it's in personal or it's in friendships or it's in whatever, almost exclusively, they haven't taken the time to find out what their integrity is. And they're scared of finding it because of loss or rejection, or they're afraid of being too much, or they're,
Unknown
yes,
again? Would you say that's
all
also
of
the
that.
unknown? Like, I
Yeah,
don't
for
know
sure.
what will
And
happen when I find it?
this
Yeah,
might be an overstatement. I feel like most every person's life, the trudgery goes away. No matter what you're like, even if your life looks exactly the same, your trudgery goes away and you get it replaced by contentment and joy and curiosity when you decide to get integrity, when you decide to get self exploration, when you decide to find out what your heart is.
I
And so,
agree.
even if you don't change anything else in your life, you can improve your life exponentially just with that one exploration.
I agree. I agree. I was on a podcast the other day and he asked me, he was a doctor. I think he was a psychologist. I can't remember 100%. And he said to me, "How do you avoid burnout?" And I said, "Find integrity. If you're in
You
your
can't.
integrity, you won't burn out." It's not about how much do I work and should I take weekends off and should I sleep this time and should I get into my ultradian cycle and all. No,
You
no, just
know.
be in your integrity, be fully present. And by the way, you can't be fully present if you're not in your integrity. That's another thing. You can't be in the now. Oh, I can't tell the power of now. Yeah, you can't be in the
Yeah, you
power of
can't.
now if you're not in your
I
integrity.
didn't know how to be, to exist in a conversation. I did not know how to exist with my kids to play and really enjoy children. I didn't know how to really have joy or contentment in any kind of lasting status quo in life until I found through exploration and getting gooey and getting all like uncomfortable my integrity. Now, existing is simple and easy. Having a conversation and not having a plan. Like none of this is planned. None of it. We're just existing as two people contributing to each other's thought process. It's not stressful. It's not straight. It's just existing.
No,
No, and
there's
there's
no
not a need
expectation.
for it.
There's no
And it
expectation.
evolved
Yeah,
into real,
no,
actual meat because I'm not trying to fit a box and you're not trying to fit a
agreed.
box and we're not trying to like be something. We're just us.
I agree. I think that's there's a John Keat, I think he's a composer or poet. He's got this idea called negative capability. And he said all artists need it. And it's the idea that you are exploring your art without a need to come up with the final poem or the final song or the final. That's not what you're not doing the art to come up with a masterpiece. You're doing it to explore yourself and explore life and explore the truth and be connected to different dimensions and different parts of you. And I think that's the same thing in conversation. It's like sometimes I have an agenda for sure. I go to the post office. My agenda is to speak to the guy to get my parcel sent off, obviously. And I have
Yeah.
expectations there that they're going to do a good job. And actually, that's when I get frustrated is when they don't do what they're supposed to do. And it's like you
Yeah.
said it was going to arrive on you know. But typically speaking, I don't want to have expectations. I don't want them because for what? Anne Lamott said expectations are
Oh, I
resentments
love
waiting to
that.
happen.
Yep.
Which if you reverse it, you can't be
Yeah.
resentful if you didn't expect anything. Because what are you resenting? And so it's like I used to have it on my wall in Dubai in my office. Expect
Oh,
anything
I like that
and
too.
accept everything. And it's that idea that who are you to like my brain like I know nothing about this world. Maybe what do I know
Your
about this
experience.
world? What do I know about? I'm in my apartment. There's a block in the pipe in the sink outside. And it's like he starts explaining to me I can't build a house. I don't know how to build we flush the
Yeah.
toilet and this goes into some system that's safe and gets it out of the thing and we can do it again. And like, who built this
Yeah.
stuff? I have no idea about this stuff. How do we clean food? How do we bring clean water? How do we make clothes? I don't know any of these things. I'm useless. I know nothing, honestly. And it's like, and then you're sitting expecting certain things to happen. It's like Louis C.K. has a funny joke about this, about, when they started putting Wi-Fi on the airplanes, and he's like, we're sitting there and they just introduced Wi-Fi on the airplane and we're sitting in first class or whatever. And then the Wi-Fi didn't work and the guy starts complaining and Louis C.K.'s like you're getting Wi-Fi on a metal tube that's flying you in the air. What are you
For
complaining
sure.
about?
Yeah, no,
Rich
I
people problems.
definitely agree. I
Yeah.
loved your line of expectations.
Expectation or resentments waiting. Anne Lamott. It's a great book. I can't remember which book of hers it was in, but it's a great line. And it's like, what are you expecting and why?
Yes.
And that's another belief, by the way. I expect this to happen as a
Yeah.
belief. It's not a fact
Yeah.
because it's in the future. You can say this happened in the past, fine, but why are you expecting it to happen again? Only because it happened
Mhm.
before, but
Yeah.
that's still a belief.
Yeah.
That's not a fact. Yeah.
Is it serving
Why
you?
are you believing it?
Yeah.
Why do you want to
I
believe it?
love that idea,
Yeah,
the Venn
right.
diagram of belief, because when you're willing to self introspect and really examine what your actions are saying, what beliefs are behind them, then from that place, you can then look to where you want to go and what beliefs you would need to have that to be there and be that person, start taking actions. But on top of that, you can start self examining things about how you walk through the world. Like if you have the belief that every experience you have, good or bad, is somehow preparing you for where you know you're going to be, all of a sudden everything in the world, good and bad, is simply because you believe it. Because you're looking for the failure to be a lesson. So you make it be a lesson because that's your perspective, your belief of it. And you can literally change everything, like you said, about your life if you are willing to adjust those beliefs. So that's remarkable. I love that you help people create a world where they get to do it on their own terms and have found a foundational truth that can be applied to people who aren't solo entrepreneurs or people who are, simply by the foundation of why believe it if it doesn't serve you.
Yeah, and actually I've been thinking and while I just started to think, I don't do it intentionally enough. And I think I want to introduce this back to my program to make it a more intentional practice. Like, what do you believe is true? Because I used to do it when I did personal development programs. That's how I started to
Mhm.
facilitate the courses and programs. I did personal development first, and then I went into leadership training, and then now I'm doing solopreneurship, which is kind of my
All
business
coming together,
background
yeah.
and leadership and personal development. Yeah. And because it's like self leader, like, because leadership, that's another thing. Leadership and management. Leadership is the
Mhm.
unknown. Otherwise, you're not leading. You can only lead into the unknown. And management is the known because you're managing things that, like, you know how to manage it. Your finances, your kids' school, whatever. Like you understand how. So in personal development, I used to always sit, and that's how we'd start. What do you want? What do you believe is true about what you want? What do you believe is not true? What's stopping you from getting there? And then how do we? And I don't do that with solopreneurs. Actually, I do it more ad hoc when I start to see the limiting
Yeah, yeah.
beliefs show up and I coach them on the fly. But now you got me thinking about I
Yeah,
want to
I
bring
love
this in
that.
more intentionally, actually.
It's really nice. Good.
You're giving me
Homework is a
homework.
great thing. I love homework. It's very fun to get into a cathartic conversation and have some type of takeaway where you're like, yeah, no, I really do like that. But I love, even if you weren't doing it previously super intentionally with asking that question, that the foundation, I think
Yeah.
to make a difference in your business is to make a difference in yourself because you cannot grow a business past your limiting beliefs.
Inside out. It's inside out. It's everything's inside out. Yeah, for sure. It's like a metaphor that I use a lot is you go to the movie theater and the screen is just a blank screen
Yes.
and then the movie's projected. And this is quite deep, this metaphor, because the director, movie producer, whatever you call it, that team, they want you to see a certain thing, but you're going to see something completely different. Like it's like 30 people in the movie theaters, 30 different movies
Hmm.
being watched. It's that idea. And so, but if you come back to they're projecting their world to the screen, and then you're projecting your world to the screen, and you're taking the combination of those two things. So they're
Hmm.
facilitating your truth through their
Yeah.
projection, right? Okay, so why is this interesting? Because imagine the whole world was just a blank screen. And so everything you're seeing is your projection of the world that you think that you believe exists against whatever frameworks, buildings and people that are there to
Hmm.
facilitate your truth. That's all it is. Okay, so if that's true, so if is objective truth that we can't
Yep.
see because we're projecting our truth onto it, our reality, then the
Hmm.
work is in the projection. Work isn't in the changing the way rocks and plants and although I
Yeah.
know people do that too, right? They try to manipulate nature and fine, I'm
Yeah.
not smart enough to do that. I'm talking about just normal people like me or below average people like me. So then the work becomes what am I projecting and why and how and
Hmm.
why do I want to project that and how does it help me? That's what you
Hmm.
need to that's inside that's the hero's journey. Like
Yeah.
Joseph Campbell or whoever, like we figured this stuff out. It's inside out. No one
I
does
love your
this. No one. Like 99 No one does it. They always look for something from the outside that's going to make me. I think that's how we're
Yes. No, for
socially hypnotized.
I
I
definitely
don't
agree.
think
I
it's,
definitely agree
yeah,
that we are not just in the United States, but culturally in general, we have this environment, this thought process that our solution is an external, something to grasp over here, over here, over here. And part of
yes.
that is because external can be sold. Part of that is external is I'm not to blame. I'm not the solution. I am the victim. That's the solution. That's the answer. And there's a escape in that. There's a relief in that. There's also an isolation in it, but we don't necessarily sit with that because we're not sitting with ourselves to know that we can have answers, right? I love your analogy with the screen because it goes even further, right? You have your projection, but if you take it to a level of you finally start seeing your own beliefs and what you're projecting, you can also get the other side if you're a sole entrepreneur, right? Because you're projecting for a consumer, right? So then you have to think through the Venn diagram of what their perception is that they'll be projecting onto your thing that you're putting out there. And then you can speak their language back to them
Right.
and then be able to be heard
Mhm.
where they are to then try to pull them to see where you can see, which is, I imagine, what you do.
Yeah, right. Yeah, because
Hmm.
that's why we talk about niching a lot, niching, you guys say in America, because if you don't have a common language, like I was in the
Hmm.
spiritual world for a bit, people that did
Right.
ayahuasca retreats and indigenous wisdom, and I can't speak to them. I can't say things like brand Bible or you know what I mean, or profit loss, and they
Hmm.
don't like that language. So I have to speak their language. So that's a small example of how you have to meet your projection with their projection for sure. And I think again we come back to the alignment on the inside. The problem starts with you're not projecting what you want. You have to get, let's start. It's the argument. By the way, I have this argument with everybody, or not argument, but this position I have. When someone wants to criticize me, I say, okay, let's assume you're right, and what I'm doing is to be criticized. And so if I change it, what happens? If I do it the way you think, well, then it will be all good, right? Okay, so you want me to change everything that needs to be improved in me so you want me to be perfect. And then they always say, no, 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 I don't want you to be perfect. It's like, okay, so which parts of me are you happy for me not to be perfect in? Let's start there. Which parts are you happy for me to be flawed in?
Yeah.
And of course, no one ever has an answer to that because they don't know what to say, because they know whatever they say, if they're close to you, especially, whatever they say, that's going to count against them because it's like, great, I can be flawed there. So you can't ever blame me for that again. And then the flip
Hmm.
side is true. So that I always start with me. This is the point I'm making. I always say, what part of me do you want me to fix? And then does that mean I have to be perfect for you to be satisfied? And then I flip it back at them. I go, so does that mean that you're already perfect? And they say, of course not. Of course I'm not. Of course I'm not perfect. Okay. So then I say, so how about this? How
I'll
about you
fix mine.
fix your flaws and I'll fix mine? And then when you're perfect, I'll take advice from you on how to become perfect. And that just
Yeah.
ends the conversation. But it's absolutely true. This isn't a mind
Yeah.
game, or it's exactly true. It's like, why are you? And here is the thing that we also know to be true, Rachel. We all have a shadow, and a shadow
Hmm.
literally means you don't know, you don't see it.
Yeah.
Like literally. One of my smart ass cousins' kids went, I can see if the sun's there, I can see my shadow. I'm like, yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. Everybody has this unconscious part of them that plays against who they're supposed to
Yeah.
be, and it's the devil in your ear or whatever metaphor you want to use. And so we need each other. We need to point out, Rachel, did you not see how? But you have to do it in a way where you also
Yeah.
accept that you've got the same shit,
Uh-huh.
not from a finger wagging,
No,
you should, blah, 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 blah," right? And that's how
mm-mm.
we help, because you can't be whole on your own. You need someone to show you the dark side,
Yeah.
the shadow side of you. You need that so that you can start to become aware and you can
Mhm.
start to think about how to manage that. And I think that's how we learn to be better together. That's my point. Like we have to learn to be better together. Like why should I agree with you, and why should I want to vote for the same party as you and like the same music as you, and like why? Who cares? Who cares if we have different opinions? We
Yeah.
don't know enough to argue. I'm like, oh, I think politics should be. It's like, how the hell do I know about Like, what do I know about budgets and military and what do
Yeah.
I know?
Yeah. I think
Nothing.
I was gonna say your line
And
about
so,
how you
yeah,
go about that conversation. I found for myself if I'm gonna bring up something that I find uncomfortable or did you realize you did that? I usually start with I want to be clear with this, like a preamble. I want to be clear with this. I'm coming to the table as a person who also doesn't know how to do this super well. But I saw this and I wanted to make sure you saw, right? Like I always try to give a precursor, but I feel like that same truth allows for when we do that, when we offer humility, when we offer the I don't know, when we offer the underbelly of uncertainty that we all exist in at all times, and then we offer a way to connect, even with politics. If we say, you know what, I don't necessarily agree with your solution, but I do agree that this is a problem. I just don't know what the solution is because I don't have enough experience to know what it is.
Yeah,
Can you
right.
lay out for me? Have you
Yeah,
thought about the impact
yeah,
this
right.
way, this way, this way, this way? Because the solution you have has these problems. So I agree with you. Your problem is the same. I agree. And I get you want a solution and I want a solution, but I don't see either of these options solving, like when we come to the table with the unity we have of our known uncertainty, our known usually problems with worth, our known issues in life. Yes,
Same goal. Same goal. We all want to be left
accepted.
alone, safe, secure, have joy. Everyone wants that no matter what color skin, what color tie you wear. We all want the same thing. It's Eckhart Tolle calls it the five universal values, I think he calls it, which is love, joy,
Yeah,
peace, and freedom. Everybody
yeah.
wants that. And beauty. That's the fifth one. Which I'm still meditating on
Your
that one.
language revealed that.
Yeah, I'm still meditating. Yeah, because I used to say the fifth one was belonging, but actually we want belonging to facilitate love, freedom,
Yeah,
peace. We don't want belonging in and of itself. Connection, right? All of that. It's not I've got connection, end of story. Because if you have connection without freedom, you're not happy. If you
you're
have
also not happy.
freedom without connection, if you have peace, yeah, if you have total
Yeah.
peace
Nobody
without
chooses
connection,
to
who
live on a
cares?
desert island for the rest of their life by
I got
themselves.
what yeah. Yeah, yeah. So I think we all want the same thing, and this is the 99. This is the whole. I don't know if you remember the Occupy Wall Street movement. I was very
Mhm.
political, like in my interest, but I was open to all politics because I didn't know enough. And there was the Occupy Wall Street movement in 2008 after the financial crash in America. The banner was "We are the 99%." David Graeber came up with that. He was a college professor, died quite young from an illness. He wrote a book called The 5,000 Year History of Debt. It's a fantastic book if anyone wants to understand the money system and the debt system and where it came from. It's an amazing book. And I got into a big argument with him on a panel once because he was like, it was just before
Yeah,
Trump, I think, the first term. And he was saying, we can't let Trump in and we can't. And I said to him, it all looks the same
yeah,
to me. This is my position on everything, by the way. They all look the same to me. Why do you think like Clinton is better or whatever? That was always and it was a question. It wasn't I think
yeah,
Clinton's worse, or it wasn't that. And I remember getting into a big argument with him, and he was like someone I really looked up to at the time. But he came up with the we are the 99%, and I asked him about this personally, and he said the thing is, 99% of the world wants the same thing: happy home, safe home, purpose in life, good job, access to food and clean water and shelter, able to hang out with their friends, family close, safe roads, safe schools, good education, access to entertainment. He goes, that's 99%. And then you have the 1%, and
yeah.
it's probably less than 1%, really, if you think about it, who want to control and manipulate and take. Like most people don't want to take from the other. They just want what they
Mhm.
want, and they're quite happy with that. This is, by the way, I spent a lot of time in America. Almost every American I meet, no matter who they vote for, no matter that's all they want. They want a barbecue on Sunday. They want to hang out with their friends, go to the ball game, laugh and joke, have access to the
Mhm.
facilities and the utilities that they need. That's it. They're happy. They don't want anything else.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. And I think that's what we are separated by sports. They argue. You turn on CNN or something like that, and they're arguing about what the better actor was, and it's like, let's just divide by whatever. Are you Apple or Microsoft? Are you Android or you know what I mean? It's like
It's a belief
it's a
structure.
constant battle.
It's a belief structure that there needs to be
It's
a chasm because if we have a chasm, then we aren't uniting on the things that we have, which is more things in common than we don't.
yes.
And instead, we're focused on the one really big thing that somebody decided to put on the table as the thing that's going to divide us. It's a belief.
Makes us feel powerful as well. Look, I argued with Rachel about, what's a better, and it's like, yeah, good for you. But you're clueless. She's clueless,
And
and
the
you're arguing
argument,
about something that has
I was
nothing
going to
to
say,
do
the
with any of
argument
it.
doesn't do
It's
anything
but
to actually get the life that you want or they want or change anything.
advanced.
It's just wasted
No,
energy.
no. Yeah, 100%. And it's the divide and rule. Like every ruling empire, divide and rule was the MO. It's like the more we are, and that was David Graeber's whole thing. He said, if we realize we're 99%, then we beat the 1%. And
Of the
that's why
unity.
they're so scared
Yeah.
of
Yeah.
us coming together.
What I think is really sad
Yeah.
about that 1% that is set aside
Yeah.
as somebody who wants to manipulate and wants to control is that person is stuck in disalignment, inauthenticity, and a painful life. Because if you're authentically aligned, you can't want to manipulate people. Yeah,
I
that's
believe that. I
what I
don't know if
believe.
it's true, but that's an example of what I, yeah, and I choose to believe that too. I do. But then I have a conflict with that, Rachel. Why are they doing it then? Just because they're not
No, I
aligned?
think that they're doing it
That's the
because
only
of wounds
reason?
that they won't be willing to face because they won't get. Yeah,
So it is misalignment. So the belief is because they're
Yeah.
misaligned or out of their integrity, then that's having them act in this way. Okay, so then the next part of my brain says, aren't we just using that as an
oh, totally
excuse
could be.
now to
But I
make
choose
sense of
that
it?
reality.
What if
Yeah,
we're
it totally
what
could
if we're
be.
the
It
devil?
totally could be. But I choose.
Satan's
But
army.
I choose to believe.
Satan's army.
I choose to believe that those people, if they were ever willing to, and sometimes I think people are incapable of it. I think they're incapable of taking ownership. I think they're incapable because they choose to be with beliefs. But I choose to believe that if
I love
they
this.
chose, it could look different.
Yeah. Yeah. I think my chosen belief, and maybe I need to think about this,
Oh, that's
is
fair.
that it's Satan's army. And we have to find God.
Yeah.
I'm a big
Same.
God. I'm not a religion guy. I don't care about religion.
Same here.
I'm a God guy. And so, although to be fair, like I think if you follow the words
Yeah.
of Jesus Christ, you live the best life you can. But again, I don't
Yeah.
look at Jesus as a Christian necessarily.
Yeah.
I mean, he was Jewish to begin with anyway, but
Yeah.
well, he was Jewish even when he died, right? But I think it's like I don't want to believe in these pedophilic satanic that they're doing it because they're corrupted. I believe this is their
Yeah.
MO. This is their authenticity. Actually, I believe that. And I'll tell you why I choose to believe that, but I
Yeah.
will think about it because I haven't thought
I
about it
think
in a
it's
while.
fair to have both ends.
Like I decided maybe 10 years.
For me, I found that functionality allows me to have the balance I said before, where I can love the person and care for the person, but condemn the behavior. And that Venn diagram allows me to come into the world with grace and compassion. And so I like that viewpoint because it doesn't cost me in how I function and work. And I don't have to have a rule in my brain about who becomes the devil's army. I can just give that as a blanket profile that at the core of every person could be this truth, and their behavior is something I don't have to receive. And that's why I choose it, but it's completely fair. Yeah,
So
do it. I love it.
let me play devil's advocate with this.
Yeah.
Pardon the pun.
Yeah.
Let's look at Trump. Let's look at Trump. And let's say Trump was acting not on his own orders. I don't believe any politician
There's
decides
strings.
anything. That's just my belief based on Yeah. I don't. And so let's say he was acting at the behest of
Yeah.
Satan. Let's just make that argument. And he doesn't want to. And so we say, well, he's out of his integrity. Fair. Let's just play this game. Let's say someone came and whispered in his ear, you don't do what we say,
Yeah.
every single one of your kids is going to get killed. What does he do?
More than likely, do the thing that saves his kids with most people.
It always comes back. I love this. I don't know who said it. I'm trying to find the clip. They said everyone thinks they're Schindler when the reality is they're the Nazi.
I definitely think most people, when the rubber hits the road, if their comfort, not even life, but comfort is in question, they'll let ish slide way longer than they think they will. And they'll stop taking actions in the fear of loss of comfort.
Because the story is like JFK was told he was going to get killed if he didn't fall in line. Martin Luther King, Malcolm X, all of these guys, John Lennon, they all got told, don't fall in line and you're dead. And they all got killed.
Yeah.
Bob Marley. So it's like, so then we say, well, what is authenticity then? And what is integrity? What is it there? This is where I don't know how to deal with that because I've never thankfully been put in that position where someone says you or your loved ones are going to get impacted if you don't do this corrupted thing, like this blackmail type scenario.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I would do.
I know you can hypothesize
And I'm saying that
about the
genuinely.
situation, but you don't know. And you can even like the flip the coin mentality with like if you have a hard time knowing what you'd want and then you like have two choices and it's like go out for the evening or stay in and you don't know which one you want, you flip a coin and then it's just whatever that one is, and if you have feeling, then you know it was the other option. Okay. You can even do that with this scenario, but you can't know because you've never been there.
No, but I don't have kids, so I'll put it on you. You imagine someone said, sorry, you're going to have to act like part of Satan's army. and you're going to have to act in this
Yeah.
corrupted way, or your kids are gone.
Hypothetically, if I'm
What would
looking
you
at it
do?
right now, I would have to ask a lot more questions for me to be able to give the answer. For example, if me making the choice to do this terrible thing causes a exorbitant loss of life.
No, we're not telling you.
Oh.
You have to enroll with Satan's army, and then we're going to tell you what you have to do, or your kids are gone tomorrow.
And I don't, wait, hold on, here's the question.
You see?
Can I
You
choose to
see
have
what
it
I
me be
mean?
dead instead?
No, but so this is what I think. I think in the old days it was we'll kill you.
Yeah.
And they realized a lot of people said, fine, kill me. And so they went the Godfather,
Yeah.
you know, the Godfather 3, they
I
killed the
think-
daughter, not the Godfather. Because they
Yeah,
wanted him to live in hell.
I think in the world of
You know
I
what
don't
I
know what
mean?
it is, I don't think I can opt for doing it because
And then
yeah,
your kids are gone, and
No,
then your
no,
kids are gone tomorrow. You
but
see
here's
what
the
I
deal.
mean, though?
My kids
Like,
die,
it's really,
I can then die
yeah.
and join them. And that's how I would view it.
Yeah, fair. So you're,
Yeah, that would be
so
more
you're
my-
going to commit to that
Because
instead.
if I know what the thing
Yeah.
is something that costs money to the world, but not lives. My kids' lives are more important than money. I know that's for me. That's why,
But
like,
you
I
don't
sat
know
there and I
that,
was
though.
like,
That's the
man,
deal.
if I
That's
don't
the
know,
deal
though,
with
I
the
can't
devil,
because I can't
you
sign
know?
up for and then get given.
Yeah.
Your kids are
Yeah,
gonna
yeah.
die, or 7,000 people are gonna die.
Yeah.
My kids matter to me. There
Yeah,
are 4 of them.
or
They're
7.
fantastic. They're amazing. I would give my life 4 times over for them. But I don't get to make the choice that they're more valuable than 7,000 people.
These.
Yeah.
No, but these. I mean, okay, with 6,000 people, like you know what I mean. Like the point is, it's always
Yeah, no.
you don't
It's,
get to
the
know
trolley-
the details.
the trolley
We're back
thing,
to the you don't
right?
know.
Would you kill the one person on the track to save the
Yeah, but you know that.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, life is you don't know. You're doing a deal with the devil. That's like when the mafia used to come and
Mhm.
knock on your door and say, "We'll protect you. You need to pay us, you know, a percentage every," and then the percentage keeps going up.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I didn't agree to this. It's like, well, we don't care. You've done the
Yeah.
deal with us now. Yeah. It's like your kids, right? It's like they didn't choose to be born, and they
Mhm.
didn't choose to be born to your rules. This wasn't voluntary. It's like, these are my rules, and they're going to change as we go along, and tough shit you're
Yeah.
going to have to deal with.
Not necessarily how I parent, but yes, it's generally.
I think these are important topics because it shows that we're all flawed. It shows we don't know enough, and it shows
Yeah.
that life is. And some people
I
have
do, and
these
I also think
decisions
it
to
helps us have
make. I think.
more empathy, understanding, less bitterment and resentment and frustrations in our world because we don't have these expectations of I know,
Yeah.
I'm right, you're wrong. And it also allows you in the same going back to what you do, it also with this understanding of humility, with this understanding of sitting with yourself, with this understanding of I don't know, you can come to the table and create a business that allows you to connect to other people by making things aligned with similarities, with knowing what their fears are, because they're going to be a lot like the same ones you have, and talking to their fears and their ideal outcomes, and connect with people and help people with whatever it is you're doing, which gets you back to the sales, all of that.
Yeah, and you know, it all comes down ultimately to, I think, you know, the reason we, you know, someone might be thinking, what the hell are they talking about this stuff for? This is your model of the world. This is your model of, if you don't have answers to these questions, I don't know is an answer, by the way.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would do. I think you basically said that. It's like, then you have gaps in your model of the world. And so you get to plug those gaps with what you believe, or
For you.
someone gets to plug them.
And that's where the days and the use instead
And the
of the
most
eyes
common
comes
answer is,
from earlier.
yeah. Right. And you know, back to that thing, like everyone thinks they're Schindler. Everyone's go, I wouldn't be a Nazi. I wouldn't shoot pregnant Jewish women in the back of the head. It's like, yes, you probably would have, because they threatened your family. They didn't do it because they liked it. The German police didn't say, yeah,
No, we're making
I want
Germany
to
great
shoot women
again.
in the back of the head. They were told, if you don't play ball, you're in the oven with the rest of them,
Mm-hmm.
or your kids are going to disappear.
Yeah, very true.
Serious problem. But you know, like if you live a life where you don't have these problems, I'm not talking about like Nazi Germany problems. I mean, you know, that's just on a different level. But if you don't have health, wealth, relationship problems, you're blessed. Just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
Hope it doesn't change.
Totally get that.
You know what I mean? It's like, you know, life is tough. And I think I like the idea of, I'll figure out my own path and I don't really care about anyone else. And I think that's an important thing too. It's like a lot of people are worried about what would they think, what would they do, and it's like, why? Why are you worried about what other people think? And usually it's because you care about what they're doing. Usually, it's like if I didn't care about I don't care what my brothers are doing, and I don't care what my old college buddies are doing. So I never think about what they're thinking about me because I
When
don't
you
think
are
about
afraid of-
them.
If somebody
And
else's
that's another
judgment, you're
really good.
usually the person who's also giving that judgment.
Yeah, yeah. You know, when people do outreach, sending messages to people to try and get a sales conversation, you know, that's like, whoa, that's like, oh my God, like, I'd rather face the dragon than do that. Again, one of the first questions I'll ask them is, how do you feel when someone messages you? Oh, I hate it. And it's like, okay, that's the problem. Why do you hate it? Like, someone messages
Yeah.
you, just treat them with respect and say, no, thank
Yeah.
you. Why are you hating on them? They're just trying to pay their rent
Yeah.
and feed their kids. What do you think they're trying to do? Like, what? And that's belief again. What do you believe they're trying to do? Do you believe they woke up and went, I'm going to annoy Mo today by
No.
sending him a message? You know what I mean? You think that
Yeah.
was their goal? Like, that's
Yeah.
their vision, to
No.
annoy Mo?
I also think there's a social onus that people take on that it's a belief. Like they have to be polite, they have to be cordial, they have to say yes, they have these have tos in their belief system versus you message me and say, "Hey, would you be interested in this?" I can have a conversation with you at the end of it and be like, "I don't think it's aligned." And then you could be like, "Yeah, why?" And I don't have to give you an answer. I can just be like, "It's not." Yeah. No is the whole sentence.
Just say no.
Yeah.
Just say no.
The
No is
same
a
same
full
thing.
sentence.
Love it.
Someone messaged me the other day, hey, you
Yeah.
want to come to my routine? And I went, no, full stop.
And it's not rude. It could just be
That's it.
no. It doesn't like
Why do I have to explain?
it's not rude to say no.
If they think it's rude, that's a why. Fred Reck, I used to manage Fred Reck, a famous movie music producer and DJ. Works with Dr. Dre and people like that, Snoop Dogg. And he had this line. He goes, "You see that there? We call that a YP. That's a yo problem." It's like, if you're offended, that's your problem. If you don't like it, that's your problem. If you think I should have
Yeah.
done something different, that's your
Yes.
problem.
And if you want to,
Your
you can
problem,
solve it by
not my
asking a
problem.
question like, were you meaning that to be aggressive and unkind? Or you can solve that problem by saying he was in your brain and walking away. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, right. Yeah, you get to maybe that's a better, you started by asking me what the belief is, and
Yeah.
you get to write your story in real time. You get to tell the story of what's going on. This is going on because of this, and this is going on. And I think, but there's hard work to do before that, because you have to lay the foundation of fundamentally, what do you
yeah.
believe
And
to be
why?
true? And it's hard work. And
Yeah.
that's why it's important. That's another good truth of life. If it's
Yeah.
not
It's probably
hard
not
work,
worth
it's
the
probably
investment.
not important. Yeah. If it's easy, again, when I'm training people to change the way they think and change the way the persuasion and change how they show up and change. Oh, this is hard, Mo. What
Yeah.
do you
You're going to
think
make
you
a
were coming to the
sandcastle?
beach? Like, if it was easy, I
No,
wouldn't
you would
I
have
wouldn't
come
be
to the
making
conclusion
money if it
yourself.
was
You would have
easy.
gotten a YouTube video
You
and
just
watched 3
YouTube.
steps and been like, oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, what did you
Yeah.
think you were
If it
signing
was a
up
math
for?
problem that was simple.
It's a shortcut. I want a shortcut. Yeah, I just want a shortcut. Just tell me what to do. Just let me, yeah, you think it's that easy? I
Yeah.
just write a
I
book
think,
and I'd
well,
be a
that's my favorite.
multi-billionaire. That's all I
That's
do.
my favorite
Here's
thing
the
when people
easy,
talk
here's
about
the
like
shortcut.
healing life in
Yeah.
general, or they're just like, well, what is the answer? And I'm like, if it was a answer, there would be a book and there would only have one, there wouldn't be hundreds of millions of self-help books. There wouldn't be hundreds of millions of business books because it isn't a thing. People try to come up with these gimmicks, but it's foundational beliefs, foundational thought processes, foundational perspectives. And
Yeah.
the reason why there's so many different books is because my
Yeah.
perspective of what that foundational truth and how I vocalize that and my language about it is based in my beliefs and my background and my words. And then you come up with a book that comes from and you might even have the same type of truth, but how you verbalize it and your background and how you communicate it is different. And so therefore it's a different book and reaches different people, even if it's the same basic foundational truth that you can come across.
And everything we're doing is exploring the truth. Music, art, science, geography, history, everything's exploring the truth. And one of my mentors, Ewan Mockery, says, the truth is a sphere. You imagine it the size of the world, let's say, and it's just too big for us. It's too overwhelming for us to deal with. So everyone's approaching a bit of it. And then the more we connect the pieces together, the bigger the truth. And it's a truism for life. The more people explore space, the more people explore the sea, the more people, discover atoms and diseases. And we bring that information together, as long as it's uncorrupted, because there's a lot of corrupted information. We bring the real information together. It's like a jigsaw, like everyone's bringing another piece of the jigsaw, and the jigsaw puzzle's so big,
Yeah.
our brains can't handle it. It's too big. There's too much going on. And this is, by the way, this is the drop in the Milky Way. That's the Earth. Imagine
Yeah.
whatever the hell's out there.
Yes, completely.
You know what I mean? Like, it's so overwhelming. It's so overwhelming. And it's like I think we're God's soldiers, and every one of us can bring a
Yeah.
piece of the jigsaw to the puzzle. And if you're not doing that, what the fuck are you doing? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Why are you
Are you
here? Tom Waite has a brilliant quote about people who complain and don't do anything. They don't contribute. They just complain. He says, "Get off the cross. We can use the wood."
I love that. Who did you say that? Tom Waits. Okay. Oh my gosh,
Tom
that's
Waite, the
amazing. Yeah.
musician and actor. Yeah. Get off the cross. We can use the wood.
Yeah.
Because that's what people do. They crucify themselves and they want everyone to sympathy. It's like,
No.
you're not Jesus. We're not going to sit and cry
And I
over
will
your
openly admit
crucifixion.
there are
No one
times in my
fucking
life
cares
where I
about
have
you.
definitely been that person where I made myself a victim. I made myself like, oh, I can't believe that I had such a horrible childhood, or I can't believe I did.
Yeah, right.
And so I feel like we can
Right.
all be there.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it
To be
is.
fair, you
But
are the victim, to be fair.
sometimes you are the victim.
Sometimes
But
you are the victim.
I like the line of, it's not your fault, but it is your responsibility. And it's,
Problem.
yeah.
It's not their
Because
fault, but it's your
it doesn't
problem.
matter. I didn't choose to
100%.
have that
No one's
family.
going to
I
save
didn't
you.
choose to have those traumas, but I do get to have the choice and what I
No.
get to do with it. Yeah.
How to deal with it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's Man's Search for Meaning, huh? That's Viktor Frankl's book. It's like, if you can't control the circumstances, you can
Yes.
still decide how to think about it. I love that idea. It's such
Yeah.
a strong idea. Like, it's mind blowing. And that's the same as the belief. It's like he
Yeah.
chose to believe that there was meaning in the atrocities of
Yeah.
the concentration camps and him losing everything, his
Yeah.
family, his dignity, his job, he chose
Yeah.
to
So for
believe
me,
there's
I
meaning in it. He
was gonna say,
chose that.
you
No
can't
one
force a
told
belief on
him.
somebody else other than
Yeah.
a small child. You can, but like past
No.
that, you have, and even that child,
Yeah.
they'll still choose.
Even then, you can't.
I still think
You
they'll
think they can?
choose, but
Yeah. You can manipulate
I think the
them.
reason
You
why I
can
say you can
manipulate a
force it
small
on them
child.
is
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
small children are basically walking subconscious, right? So the things that you vocalize, their brain isn't filtering. Yeah, they're fully trusting,
And fully trusting.
and they
Fully
really
trusting of you
completely believe,
too.
even if their parent is
Yeah.
horrible, most children up until a certain age still have an idyllic viewpoint of their parents. And so they receive them at like, whatever's happening has to be my fault.
Course.
I have to adjust. And so that's what I mean by you can force it in. They still choose it, but they can't they don't have the
Yeah,
brain
I got it.
capacity
I
and
got it.
willpower to be able to see. Yeah, all that. That's why I say
Awareness,
force. But
experience, ability. Yeah, right. Yeah, I like it. I think that's right. It's like, honestly, I don't even want to think about what could happen to people. Like, I don't want to think
yeah,
about. I have no idea what to make of that. And I know how evil people could be. I just know
yeah.
that we just know how evil people could be. We know that, even if we haven't experienced it ourselves. But to experience it and to have to deal with it, I have no idea. I have nothing to say about that. I just
Feel like
thank
knocking on everything's
God
wood.
I didn't have to deal. I mean, I probably had some trauma growing up because I don't remember what my parents did to me when I was a kid. I have no idea. But I don't remember any of it, and it certainly didn't. Well, maybe it
You
messed
grew
me
up
up. I don't know. But it's often the flaws of our parents. I think our
yes,
parents are flawed,
because
no
they're
matter how
humans.
loving they are, and it's often their flaws really that impact
Yeah.
on you more than their malevolence. Let's say it's something like that. Yeah. I think that's one of the signs of maturity is that you accept that your parents were flawed. For most people, it seems to happen when they become parents because they start to realize how their
Mhm.
flaws are impacting on their kids. And so then they go,
Mhm.
"Oh, I forgive mom and dad now," kind of thing. But I think that's a big sign of maturity. You can choose to
Mhm.
believe again that your parents did their best given
And their
their levels of
capabilities at that
awareness and
time.
their integrity and their misalignment
Mhm.
and whatever their traumas were when they were younger, like we don't know about, or their parents' traumas,
I
like
like to
we
think of
don't know
it
how
I like
far
to think of maturity
that
as
story
instead
goes.
of having this binary thought process on my parents were bad, you hold the space for my parents did the best they could with what they had when they had, or whatever that truth is, right? And that wasn't enough. And it was messed up. You can hold space for two things that don't feel like
Yeah.
they can fit, but they
Yeah.
can. Yeah. And I think
True,
that's what
they could both
maturity
be
is
true. They could both be
understanding
true. Yeah.
that gray isn't something to be run away from, it's something
Yeah.
we exist
Holding
in.
to I like it. It's the idea that you can hold
And
two
we all know
opposing
it because
views
we've
as
all
truth
been
at the same
extremely
time.
sad at like a breakup or something like that, and
Yes.
angry and relief. Like
Relief.
you can have multiple feelings in this
Yeah.
moment, and you can even feel crazy for having that because we create this construct of it can only be one, but life isn't that way. It's all.
That's
Mhm.
social hypnosis. That's what the news do all the time. It's like, is it this or is it this? It's like, is it right to bomb Iran or would it have been better
And in
not to bomb?
between.
Well, maybe there's some things that are good about it and some things that are bad about it. Like, I don't fucking know, but you're
Yeah.
bombing people, that's for sure. And that's not a
Yeah.
good thing, no matter what the reasons are. It's like, yeah, it's 100% true. I think you're right. A mature mind is one
And
that
make
can
space
hold
for
two
it. Yeah.
opposing truths at the same time, two opposing ideas at the same time, and make space for it, and navigate between the two, because the truth is probably somewhere in between them. I wouldn't say in the middle. The truth is always in between them. It's like the evil dictator king also provides security for his people. You know, it's like that idea. It's like, yeah, he might be evil and he might take your taxes and he might, kill people who try to go against him. But most of those dictatorships had education and schools and roads. The Brits, they always talk about the Brits in India, and it's like they built the whole infrastructure in India. Like you can say that they came and they took
And
resources, but
it's
they
not
also
justifying, it's just saying
built
both
something.
are.
So what I'm saying,
Yes.
both happened. Yes, they took resources and
Yeah,
they gave
and it's not
infrastructure and
saying that you
education,
think that one is more important than the other, it's just saying both existed, both are. And they're both facts. Now, your belief about which one and weighing them and comparing them and coming to a conclusion, that's a belief, but facts both existed.
And who the hell am I to know what was good and what wasn't anyway? Like, I don't even know what's going on in India now, let alone 100 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, and why do I care anyway? It's like you get these Iranians in America now saying, yeah, we need to get the Iran. It's like, but would you go back there if they got rid of this government? Would you move back to Iran? No, I'm happy in America. So why do you care? You're not even going to go back. So why do you care about what's happening there? It's my country. Well, it's not though.
Yeah.
You just said America's your country. You know what I mean? So it's there's a lot of, but again, that's another conflict. It's like, I want my mother country to have a better, and I'm happy
those are both things
with
you
my
can hold
life
space
here,
for.
my new life. Yeah. But I can also hold space for,
well,
why
it's
the
a
hell do
good
you
question,
care?
a litmus test of why, because they could have a valid answer. They have family there. They have their heart for the people. Yeah, I need valid reason.
Whatever. Yeah. But when they tell me that, I say, all your family want the war. No, some of them don't. So, okay, so which ones are you listening to? So you know what I mean? Like this is the thing. It's like voting. It's like democracy. It's like, it's a 51-49 vote. So how is it really democracy? Half the country doesn't want it. How's that really a democracy? What's the other system? We don't know what the better systems are than that, other than dictatorship. Someone decides 100% what happens. But that's Ram Dass has a quote. He says, the world is perfect as it is, and so is my desire to change it.
Right there, holding both.
Yeah. And it's exactly right. It's like, it is what it is, and I'm connected to the present to that, but I'm also present to my need for change. And that's the yin yang. That's the beautiful symbol of the yin and yang. It's like, one foot in order, one foot in chaos, one foot in keep things the same, one foot in wanting to change things all the time. The French philosophers decided whenever they existed, I don't know, that if everything was perfect, we would cause carnage. We wouldn't be able to live in peace and harmony as humans. We would create drama. And because we have to have
I have one
chaos
asterisk to that.
in
I think that
balance
when
with
people are in alignment and live and try to maintain alignment, I don't necessarily agree with that, but I think most of life and most people aren't in alignment.
Do you think if we were all in our integrity, because there's this argument that as human beings, we want to explore and there's never ending exploration. And that's already chaos as it is, right?
Yeah.
It's like, you think about it, we're in caves, right? We're in caves when we're surviving. We're eating shrubs and little animals. But then one caveman said, what's out there? Let's go and figure out what's out there. Why are we staying in caves? It's like, but we're all in our integrity and we're aligned and we're fully present. Why don't we just stay in the caves? Because there's something in us that says, no, we need to explore the unknown. And exploring the unknown is going to cause
but I also
carnage,
think
no
that
matter what
exploring
happens.
of unknown is something that can also happen within us. And I think sometimes when we're looking for something to explore outside, is because we're running away. Yeah, that's fair.
I'll have to think about
What you were
that.
saying about the mentality of how things cycle got me back to how that directly correlates to where you started with belief, where everything adjusts and everything shifts and everything about life is affected based on when you actively choose how everything can change. And I just loved how your practical application just a couple of seconds ago, before we got into the French philosophers, but everything you were saying, that's still good. The French philosophers still great. I love that thought process. I do think that is what life is. I think what I said was an idyllic, like non-existent world, right?
Well, it's a belief. It's
exactly.
just a belief. Again, we don't know.
No.
I didn't say I agreed with the French philosophers.
It's a perception,
I'm just saying that's.
I definitely think it's a lived reality for most people.
Yeah. I mean, you see it with kids. You see kids, if nothing's changed, they're gonna break something or pick something. They can't just sit and say, okay, this is what it is. Let's just sit and chill. They can't do that. And they're not, well, they might be corrupted, but typically speaking, they're in alignment
Yeah.
under the age of
Yeah.
7. We already decided that, right? In some part. But yeah, this is all very fascinating. At the end of the day, it's like, it's complicated. We don't know enough. We'll never know enough. Collectively, we won't
Individually.
know enough, let alone individually. Like, forget it. Like, yeah. And the path is definitely inside. I'm with you 100% on that. Like,
Yeah.
the path is the inside out for sure. I think so. I think the path is. I don't think there's any other way. There's nothing from the outside that's going
I
to give you
love
what you
that
need in
you
the
have
inside.
that foundational
Nothing.
truth and how you approach life, and that you came from a self-help, like a personal development background. But now you're taking that practical thought process and giving it
Mm.
to individuals who are trying to create a life on their own terms as a sole entrepreneur. You're taking this thought process and you're helping leaders in a business for themselves to apply that truth and free them of constraints, of beliefs that aren't helping them. And it's not just that you're helping their business grow, but them, because they are their business. And that's beautiful.
Yeah, I think so. I think if you're not caged as a bird, you can fly pretty high. And so the idea is to take off the cage, take away the the limitations, the constraints. I also think, and this is an important thing for anyone who's listening, who's thinking about what they want to do, or I give everybody I work with, I give them everything I know. So it wasn't like a deliberate, oh, I'm going to bring in personal development into this, or I'm going to bring in my business knowledge. It was,
Yeah.
I'm just going to tell you what I know
Yeah.
and give it all to, there's no gatekeeping. And I think a lot of people don't understand this. It's like, what am I going to offer them? Or what am I going to, give them? And everything you've got, if someone pays you or trusts you to help them get their goal, or you give them everything you've got. And if you're not willing to do that, why? Why are you doing, like, imagine I'd gone
Mhm.
into you came to one of my sessions
Mhm.
and you asked me a question about beliefs. And I said, well, you only paid me for business. So I'm only going to share what I know about business. I'm not going
Yeah.
to share what I know about beliefs. Imagine. It's ridiculous. And that's out of integrity for sure, because you're siloing, you're gatekeeping certain parts of you. And the thing is, everything, da Vinci said that
Yes.
if you pay attention, everything's connected. If you pay close attention, yeah, everything's connected. There's no, that's business, that's
Not
personal, that's
all.
personal development, that's, you know what I mean? It's like, and you're very aware of this stuff because you made so many connections with, oh, so I can see how this affects this. And even this conversation, it's like, someone could listen to, is this a politics
It's a
conversation? Is
life
this a
conversation.
personal development? Is it a bit, we don't, who cares?
Yeah.
It's just a conversation. It's just a
No,
conversation. Yeah.
it is.
Yeah. It's exploring everything. Everything needs
Curiosity,
to
I
be
don't
explored
knows,
all the time.
beliefs, but I love this conversation. I love the fact that you took who you are, coming into authenticity, the things that you know, and that you have the integrity to say, I'm staying in alignment with this. I'm going to offer what I have. I'm going to help business owners not only grow as a business, but grow as a person, because how does the business grow without it? And that's beautiful. I love that.
Yeah, yeah. That's it's, I don't even use the word business. I'll tell you why. The solopreneurs I work with, it's more lifestyle. It's more, I'm going to do what I would do if I was employed, but I'm going to do it on my own terms and
Oh
make
my
my
God.
own money. So it's not we don't do anyone who has a product. I say that's not the right. Anyone who wants to hire or whatever, I'm like, this
Yeah.
isn't. We want to be
Yes.
solo always. It's that, for just to be
Yes.
clear on that, because it's a big distinction. But everything we engage with could be, and maybe should be, designed to bring us into integrity and then grow to our fullest potential. Everything, every friendship, every conversation, every
Yeah.
game,
It goes back to your
every,
I was gonna
you
say,
know
it
what
goes
I
back to
mean?
your example of the house.
Could be.
How can you have a house if you don't have a foundation? And if your foundation isn't fitting what you want your house to look like, then you've gotta get a
Yeah,
new foundation.
yeah, right.
Yes.
And you could change the house. You
Well,
can
like, you've had
decorate
different
and
iterations,
extend,
right,
and
in your
but the
life,
foundation
and
should
all of them at
be.
the time will probably.
But the foundation should be the foundation at the
Yes.
level of integrity should always be the same. And I think people don't have
Yeah, I
that
don't think that people
foundation
have that
built
foundation with
properly.
themselves.
And so it's just
Yeah, yeah.
with themselves
I'm
is what
saying,
I'm
like, I
talking
don't
about,
think that
not the
most people
house.
have
Yeah.
the self-integrity, like, they can't offer it to another person because they don't have it internally yet.
No, a simple one. Principles, right? People talk about, I have a principle of this and my principle, and it's like, grab 100 random people and ask them to write down their principle, and no one will be able to do it. It's like so if you don't know how
Mhm.
to write down your principles, that means you don't have them. If you don't have principles, you have a principleless life, which means your only principle really is comfort and convenience.
Yeah.
Really. It's whatever works. I'll be kind when it works. I'll be honest when it works. I'll be hardworking when it works. Which is, I think, most people. And that's why I got into personal development. Actually, I taught kids first. That's how I got into
Mhm.
that thing with the 6 to 8 year old group. And because no one would pay me to teach them values and principles and vision,
Yeah.
and no one cared about that stuff. And so I was like, how the hell, and my mentor said, teach kids, because if you can get their attention, keep their attention, and speak in language they understand, then you can talk to anyone. I was like, oh, that's cool. How do I teach kids though? Like, a school would fire me the next day. So there's no chance I can be a teacher. And I don't want to do this whole teacher training crap. And then she's like, go to charities. There's lots of charities that deal with kids, single mom, kids from trauma,
Foster
refugees,
care.
asylum seekers. Like, these are all kids that need help and they can't afford it. And I was like, that's a good idea. And I was in London. London has like 168,000 charities, something like that. So I wrote to every charity that worked with kids. Actually, I wrote to every charity I could find. It wasn't just kids. And I said, I teach personal development. I'm happy to offer you free training for your users, your kids, your volunteers, your staff, whatever you want. And loads of them wrote back. And so I started to teach kids. And I would teach them this stuff. And I would teach them principles and goals. And what do you want? Who do you want to be? What do you want? And they get it. By the way, this is the thing. My mom never believed me. She's like, what do they understand? I'm like, I'm telling you, like, they get it. I used to do this exercise, Rachel, where this was for they were
Yeah, roundabouts.
10,
Yeah.
so grade 5-ish, and I did a limiting beliefs exercise. And so I wrote down, and I bullshitted them. I said, these are the 10 we interviewed everyone in the world, and these are the 10 most common limiting beliefs.
Mhm.
And I wrote the 10 on the wall, 5 and 5. I'm not good enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not good looking enough. I'm too lazy. And I said, you're going to write down, I'm going to give you a card, and you're going to write down the ones that you believe are true about you. And then you're going to come up and you're going to share
Mhm.
them to the class, because you're going to speak these out so that everyone in your class knows. And the assistant teacher's like, there's no fucking way they're going to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like, shut the fuck, just sit at the back and shut up and mind your own business. And every single one did. They wrote down at least one. Some wrote 3 or 4 or 5 down. And they came up one by one to the top in front of their entire class and said, I'm too lazy. I'm not good enough. I'm not good looking enough. Every single one of them. And I was like, wow, no one ever, like, I never even thought about this till I was 37. Beliefs
Mhm.
and limiting belief. I didn't know any of this language. And it's like, these kids are 10. And that's what I wanted to do. I
Yeah.
wanted to show people what's possible. It's not really even about living your best life. It's just show them what's possible to begin with. Because living your
Or
best
even
life is down. It's not, I can't help you do that. I can show you the way. Yeah, but you have to go and you have to
yeah.
overcome
No
your
matter how much I
bullshit. I
want
can't,
to, I
I
can't.
can't do that for
Yeah.
you. Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know if I want, I don't even, I mean, if I'm being honest, I don't care. Like,
Yeah.
and I mean that totally selfishly. I don't care because I don't know enough about you in terms of why
Yeah.
you're going to do it and not. I don't know enough. And I don't have the capacity to learn.
I
And I don't have the
I think that's a
desire. I
very
don't
healthy place
care.
to be, though,
And so
because you
I
care
always,
enough to share the information and leave it in their hands
yeah,
to walk away. That's a very healthy thing. I still
yeah,
struggle.
yeah. That's your
Yes.
love like. That's the love like again. I love you all enough to tell you everything I know,
Yeah. I
but I
still
don't like you
struggle
enough
with
to care.
wanting stuff for people that I do know more than they want it and having to learn to, like, not my circus, not my monkeys. That's still a struggle for me.
Yeah, that's a difficult one because when I had that problem, that was always about me though. It wasn't. It makes it sound
Mhm.
like we make it sound like it's selfless, but it's all about me. It was all about me. It was all about me proving I can help and me proving I can say, and I'm
Yeah.
smarter than you. Look at what I know and you don't know that yet, and I'm going to show you and your life's going to be better. And yeah, that's a hard one to let go
Yeah.
of. But again, the precursor is inside out. And my precursor to that was, here's the line I use. The only reason I'm not going to get a good night's sleep tonight is because
Mhm.
I haven't solved my problems,
Yeah.
not because I haven't solved your problem.
I think mine comes
You, your life sucks and you don't do good things for
yeah.
yourself.
Yeah,
I'm
I
still
think
going to sleep 9 hours
most of
tonight.
mine come down to the people that I most want something for. It isn't because I wanna be smart, it's because their life affects my kids.
So if they find a
Yes.
better path, your kids benefit. Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
again, I can't speak to that because I don't have kids, but I can imagine. Listen,
Yeah.
as much as I stand up for
Yeah.
kids because I believe they have a hard time, and
I
I
think
believe
most
most
people
adults treat them with
this is
contempt.
the problem I have. I think
And I
most
always say
people
to
treat
adults,
children like they're subhuman. They are not treated like they're humans and like a whole person.
and I always say they're small, they're not stupid, first of all, and second of all, they are wiser than you are
Mhm.
because they don't
I
have
can
that
usually have a
corrupted
more deep conversation
story.
with a 6-year-old, an 8-year-old, a 10-year-old than I can to a 30-year-old.
100%. They're more
They're more
honest.
aware.
They're more honest. They're more present. They're more fun. They're more aware. They're more in tune. They're more giving. They're more loving. They're more empathic.
Yeah.
than you ever will be for the rest of your life. And you're sitting and looking down at them
Yeah,
like
that's
you're
why.
some fucking, you know what I mean? So I back kids, but I
Mhm,
struggle to
that's
criticize
fair.
parents because I'm not a
That's right.
parent. And so I have no idea. Like I can't imagine another part of me coming out into the world. I can't imagine what
Right.
I would do and how that would change me. I can't imagine it. So all credit to you. So when you say to me, I do this because of my kids, I absolutely believe it. I don't have any questions about that.
But
But
so
I'm a
that's
selfish,
still that's
you know,
still
I'm
I was gonna say it still
solopreneur
impacts my life though,
pure. Like
right?
I don't want
Because
to.
if my kids have a negative effect by somebody else's, then it affects my life, right? So it still is. It's still. No, I was saying it
See,
still
it's
connects. I
still
was gonna
partly
say I don't
selfish.
think you're wrong. I was saying, but
It's
it
still a
affects my
little
kids,
bit
which then
selfish.
affects my life. So it's a separate. And even if it didn't affect my life, yeah,
Well, it's true though. It's true. It's true.
yeah,
Your peace comes from your kid's peace
yeah.
in a big part,
Yeah,
I'd
no, no, I
imagine.
most of
No,
my own self-work hasn't been because of me wanting it for myself, it's because I couldn't live a life not modeling what I wanted for them.
it's because of your kid. Amazing. And so we all need, you know, in sports they used to say like there'd be a young kid, you know, who breaks into the first team and they'd be aggressive and they always say don't coach that out of them, you know? And it's like the lesson I take from that is you have to use every positive and negative experience and driver as long as the intention is to create a better life. It doesn't matter if it's a negative driver, if it's a resentful driver, or if it's a hate. I'm going to show them. I'm going to teach. Yeah, that's great.
Yeah,
Nurture that, but nurture it for the right reasons. It's a negative energy or a negative like driver, but use it for positive. And you don't want to lose that drive. You don't want to use that fear and that drive and that determination to prove someone wrong or to overcome your own trauma
no,
to make a better
it's
life
the
for others.
current.
You don't want to lose that because that
Yeah.
takes you
So for
extra.
me,
That's
I think that you're
extraordinary.
saying
That
is the foundational
I
truth
think.
that I have found everywhere I look. I find the same thing is if you take the energy that exists, whether it's a person coming at you to fight you, or it's the motivation you have that exists in your person, but you take it and then you let it go the direction it wants to go, and then you decide to ride it.
You
You take the
disregard.
person who's trying to hit you and you let them go the way they want to go, and then you land on top of them. Yes.
You set the
Yes.
sail. You set
Yeah.
the sail of the wind. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, because it's energy and you can use it. Whatever the energy is, you can use it
Yes.
to drive forward to create
Yeah.
progress. Yeah, and I love that idea. I think it's exactly right. Like you don't want to lose the like I have a
Yes. And
fire in
that's
my
not a bad
belly to
thing.
prove people
Use it.
wrong, and I don't
For
want to lose that. No. No. As long as I don't
yes.
harm people with it or yeah. As long as I don't think
Yeah.
how am I going to get revenge? I don't want to think like that.
But that
I
goes
want to
back to
say
the
how do I
alignment.
make my life better on the back of this. Yeah, I think so. This is super important, and people have to be honest
Yeah.
about this stuff.
I
But I'm totally selfish, by the way. Like, I can't even date Rachel. I go on a date, and the minute she starts telling me about the plan, and I'm like, I don't want to fucking deal with this. I don't want to have to explain and ask for permit. You know what I mean? I just can't be bothered. Yeah,
yeah.
but it's like pick your poison. Like having kids, I know, is a massive blessing, but I'm gonna lose my wings and I'm gonna, you know, and not have the ability to just
Yeah.
wake up one day and say, right, I'm off to Brazil tomorrow. I don't have to speak to anyone about that and have to settle. I don't want to settle anywhere, you know, and I don't
Yeah.
want to deal with in-laws and things like that. And it's like but I'm gonna lose having my kids and having a stability. I
And
know, but you can't
it's
have it both
okay
ways.
to know what you
Unfortunately,
prefer and to lean into it. That isn't for me, you knowing what you want and doing that isn't selfish.
yeah,
Because well, yeah,
yeah.
fully. But here's
Doing
this
it
is what I actually
fully.
think would actually be
Doing it
selfish. I don't think
fully.
you knowing what you want
Yeah.
and you making actions towards that, getting what you want, this is what I think is selfish. You choosing that's what I'm
Or
saying.
having
You
kids when
choosing
I
to do
don't really
something that
want
you
them.
don't want to back up, that's where it's selfish. Yeah.
I was close. I was close.
Yeah.
Having a kid I didn't want. Very close.
Yeah. So for me, when
Happy that
I
didn't
have 4
happen.
kids, I didn't want kids. I didn't want kids. I have 4. Yeah, now at the same
Yeah,
time,
4 of them?
I
Same
was
time?
married young, and I knew from a very young age I didn't want to have any more children be entered in my family. And I didn't think I would ever be a functional mom, so I
Really?
never wanted to have kids.
Oh, so it was because you didn't
Yeah,
think you
well,
were
it was
good enough.
both
It
because
wasn't because you
I didn't
didn't
want to have
want
to deal
kids.
with it
End of
and have to
story.
give up the freedoms and give up all of those things, but I also didn't think I would be ever able to be selfless enough to be a good mom, be self-aware enough to show up in a good way, right? The person I married that
So
was
what
also
happened?
young changed their mind, and I didn't want to not be married to them.
So
Yep.
you did
And
something
then
selflessly,
yes. And then when I finally
actually.
we came up with ish compromise because you can't have compromise with kids. I was told I wasn't allowed to have like I wasn't going to be able to have kids. And so, yeah, I have a whole bunch of health problems. And
Really?
so I was told I was not, yes. The first
And you had
one
level 2.
took over 3 years. So what I said was, I'll give it 3 years of not doing anything, not trying, just doing
Try.
life with no stopping. And if at the end of 3 years we don't have kids, we're not having kids, and you don't get to bring it up
Oh,
again. And if we have kids, I got pregnant on the last month of the 3rd year. I was so mad.
No way.
I was so
Do
mad.
you see that as a sign? Do you
I
look
see
at
it
it that
as
way? Like
a, I didn't see it as a sign. I saw it as of the universe and God. Oh yeah, no, I was so mad because I thought I had finally gotten in
really
the clear because my selflessness was willing to engage with the compromise. And then for me, the frustration was,
believing that
yeah,
you couldn't have a kid, like that helps
yeah.
also, right?
And
Going, well,
well,
I'm
for
not
me,
gonna
I
have
knew
one
there was a
anyway.
chance because there's always a chance. But after 3 years, I was like, okay, I'd already transitioned into this isn't something I have to consider. The thing turns, I was so mad because I was like, everything about what I do, like, I literally, once I found I was pregnant, everything I ate changed. Me, everything I did about how I function in life, how it related to family, everything changed.
Plans.
Because I knew this kid didn't ask to get born. I've got to change to show up to be that parent. And so for me,
Yeah.
I had kids and then ended up having more kids because again, for my thought process, if I had this one kid, I'm going to mess them up. They at least need to have somebody else who understands how forked up I am. And therefore have somebody else to be like, do you know how crazy mom is? Like, come on. Like have somebody that they can have like catharsis with. So I ended up having more. The fourth one was a whoopsies. Hilariously, I then became a single mom, but I'm elated that I made the choice and had the sacrifice because I wouldn't have chosen it for myself. But who I am now, if I hadn't had them, I think I would have probably killed myself, just being honest. I needed an external motivator because I'd never been allowed to live for myself. And I didn't know how to do that. And I found out how to do that through doing it first for them.
I can't remember in which culture, but they say that
They are.
children are your best teachers.
My children are the people I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, right. Yeah. That's an amazing story. I think also like, sometimes you're not expecting something to happen in life. It could be an illness, it could be a trauma, it could be someone does something to you. And it's really, okay, now lines drawn now. This is a new part of life for me because something's happened that's life changing.
Yeah. The milk is spilled.
It's what do you do now? And I think that's the making of someone when they accept their situation and say, okay, let's make this the best possible from what we have. And that's a credit to you for doing that.
My oldest is
How old are
11
they, by the way?
and my youngest is 5.
What's the age gap? And
Yeah.
and
No, they
that's
are.
fun.
One of
That's
them's
fun
8,
ages.
so
Yeah.
perfect.
I'll babysit if
They'd
you want a
probably really,
holiday.
really enjoy you.
I'll come and babysit. That's what they call me for that. My cousins and my friends and all that, they call me to come and look because they know I'm really good with kids. And even when I'm at weddings,
They're more
Rachel,
fun.
I'll just go and hang out
They're
with the
more
kids.
fun. They're
It's
more
like, I don't wanna
real.
fucking listen so much.
Yeah.
So much more.
Yeah.
It's not even, it's night and day. Not even, you wouldn't want to sit and listen to your opinion about some
Yes.
bullshit you don't know
It's
about.
verbal
You know what I
masturbation.
mean?
Most conversations is
Telling
just
people how
verbal
great you
masturbation,
are.
circle jerking about. The answer is I don't know. The answer is I don't have an experience. The answer is I don't have enough education to really address it. That's the truth.
Boring. The answer is your life
Yeah.
is boring and you don't know enough to make it interesting. That's the answer. Let's just end the conversation.
Well, on that note, I have loved this. And I could go on and on and on, honestly, because you're just entertaining and fun to just have a discourse with. But in a world where everybody has
thank you.
stayed this long, listen to this very fun
Appreciate that.
conversation, and they want to have more of you, what are the best places for them to reach out, see you more? LinkedIn?
LinkedIn.
Perfect.
LinkedIn's my permanent inbox. I'll my permanent residence. I mean, I'll probably be branching out a little bit this year because I want to expand my reach. But LinkedIn's where you find me, Moe Choice, MOE Choice. You can Google me and you can find me. There's only one Moe Choice. And I've got a gift for anyone who wants to learn about how I build a solopreneur business. I have a masterclass that I run. I only run it live and I only run it every so often. But if anyone wants to attend, I'll give you a special link for that, mochoice.com/podcast. And if they sign up on that, Rachel, they'll get a couple of bonuses from me too. So if anyone wants to learn about how I live my life from a business perspective,
perfect. And I'll
then that
also
would be a good
include
place to start.
your website in the description below so they can find it that way.
Yeah, that'll be great. But thank you so much for having me. I've really enjoyed it.